Very, very cruel, basically, is what we're seeing. How cruel could it be? Impossible to be any crueler. What happened at the end there? A night of terror, say Diario AS. I mean, Luis, it's your former team. How crazy was that ending? And what's gone wrong for Atleti in the Champions League? This is a group, when we saw it, you would definitely say they have to get out of it.
Yeah, definitely it was a group that it was very, not easily to go through, but definitely a group that you can think that Atletico Madrid will go because of the amount of stars that is got, because of the history of this team, and because it looked like, yeah, Simeone is getting back to basic and he's going to make them play ready. But I think it's similar to what Barcelona had been doing in Champions League. They didn't start well. It was inconsistent from the La Liga start and from Champions League start. You cannot allow to Bruce to arrive to Wanda Metropolitano, or not Wanda, Civitas Metropolitano now, and no win, not get a win when you play at home. Everything is starting Champions League, winning your games at home. Does give you the opportunity to jump onto the knockout stages. When you don't win against Bruges at home, shows that something is wrong. When you don't score a goal at your home against Bruges, something knows that is wrong. So at the end, it's about small details. And Simeone this season is struggling to find first the first 11. Second of all, the consistency at the back that it was needed or is needed to be at the top of Champions League and of course La Liga. And now that it looks like he's finally arriving to get Atletico Madrid playing sometimes well and getting results, Griezmann back to the team, being a leader to this team. Situation like that, what it happens into the game with that penalty in the last minute to go to the crossbar, craziness in that moment, drama as always at the Civitas Metropolitano. So that's why Atletico Madrid this season is going to drop to Europa League, and well, hopefully they can do well. But it's been a long process for this Atletico Madrid to get back to what they were 5 years ago, and it's still in the process to be there.
It's a good day to have Luis Garcia on the show.
I know.
You know what? We can get to see the background behind Luis Garcia. Very fitting for today. Very good.
Europa League background.
Yes, a lot of Europa League going on behind Luis Garcia right now.
Luis, you were talking about Simeone there, and we talked about how crazy that ending was. But how much of the blame does the coach have to take for what's happened with Atleti?
No, once again, when I'm not one of those people that have the opinion of when there is something wrong. We cannot blame all the time to Simeone, or we cannot blame all the time to the players. At the end, it's a matter of facts. I mean, Simeone maybe is not getting the right players to win the games, or is not making the right decisions, but the players are not getting the right message from Simeone, and the things are not going the way that Simeone wants. So at the end, it's a mix. You cannot start pointing Simeone because now the things are not going well. Simeone has been a key person or a key manager for Atletico Madrid for so long. Suddenly cannot be a bad manager. Is it the time to maybe to move forward, to change the atmosphere into the dressing room? That's something that we don't know because we don't know how they feel into the dressing room, how they are working at the moment. I guess sometimes it's good, and we've seen in some different teams, in different clubs. You change that, and the atmosphere change. The players start improving their level, and it kind of changed the dynamic of the team. At the moment, what we've seen is the Atletico Madrid is third in La Liga. That's something that there is a fact, and that's something very important because it's been like this for the whole history. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. They are out of the Champions League. Yeah, that's something important. But the main target for Atletico Madrid, and they say it every single year, is to be in the top four every single year. That's the way that this Atletico Madrid is working because they cannot compete, as they say, with Barcelona, with Atletico Madrid, with Liverpool, with Chelsea, with City. They cannot compete against those teams. They will do it, but they are not ready. For us, I think that they have enough talent. Is the time to make the move? We'll see at the end of the season because they still can win a trophy.
Yeah, and he says he has no intention of leaving. But one thing that we're not used to seeing is Spanish teams out at this stage in the Champions League. Only one of them have qualified for the knockout rounds this year. That's Real Madrid. Only Spanish side in the knockout stages of all of these four that went through. It's the first time this century that it's happened. You have to go all the way back to the 98-99 season when this last happened. They've had so much success in recent years when it comes to European competition. if you went into the final round now, as the table stands, you'd see 4 Premier League sides going through. And the reason I tell you that is because after Barcelona's elimination, Xavi said, I really think that La Liga is at the same level as the Premier League.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on what he said there, Ale?
Well, I don't know how that's relevant to Barcelona's elimination from Champions League. Nor do I think it's a moment to be having these philosophical questions in terms of what league is better, La Liga, the Premier League. Look, I am not a protection agency for La Liga, nor am I a shield for La Liga. But what I would say is that I want to give some context and perspective to this conversation. 6 months ago, Villarreal, who was essentially a mid-table team, they were in the semifinals of Champions League. The winner of the Champions League was Real Madrid, also a La Liga team. So then, does that mean that if a mid-table team from La Liga is in semifinals of Champions League, does that mean that La Liga is the greatest ever in the history of ever? Well, no, probably not. So this is not a La Liga problem. This is a Barcelona problem. And this is a Atletico Madrid problem, and certainly a Sevilla problem. I'm not even going to talk about Sevilla because their struggles are well documented currently in La Liga. Barcelona did not make it out of the group stage last year. They haven't improved upon that this year. It's a Barcelona issue. And Atletico Madrid continues to struggle not only in Champions League this season, but against lower level opposition in La Liga. They struggle against everybody. Somehow they manage to win games, but it's never easy for them. So eventually these things are going to catch up to you. What I think this is a cautionary tale for all elite teams around Europe, all big-time teams that think that they're untouchable. If this can happen to Barcelona, it can happen to you. If this can happen to Atletico Madrid, it can happen to you if you don't make the correct decisions in terms of player personnel and if you're not able to plan for the future accordingly and to invest in a team in a manner in which it makes sense fiscally and it makes sense in terms of what the needs are on the field. So I would tell all the big teams out there, this could be you unless you take care of business on your end and you're able to run a team properly. Barcelona is now being punished for mistakes from the past. Atletico Madrid is now being punished for mistakes from the past. And now they're reaping the rewards, and the rewards are not what they like. It's a Barcelona problem, it's an Atletico Madrid problem, it's a Sevilla problem. It's not a La Liga problem.
Yesterday, Luis, you tweeted that this should be a wake-up call for Spanish football. Could you elaborate on what your thoughts are on this?
Yes, Kay, I think it's a thought that I have for quite a few years. Even though that, yes, Real Madrid has been winning the Champions League, we've been with Sevilla winning the Europa League for quite a few times, and Barcelona has been there, and Villarreal has been there. And so for my idea, I think the football is moving towards to more physical, more aggressive, more it's faster, quicker in every single aspect of the game. And I think that as a Spanish academies, we've been forming for many years. We've been very popular around the world because technically and tactically we are very good, and I think that's something very important. But I like it when Luis Enrique start making that change of, we need to improve that. And we can touch the ball and we can keep the ball and we can have the possession, but start speeding up with the players, working on players to become faster and stronger. Because what I've seen lately for the Spanish team is when we play against physical teams, they are like we've seen Barcelona yesterday. I mean, the players who make the difference were Sadio Mane, was Alphonso Davies in the right side, Goretzka, players who are physically very strong, very quick, very aggressive, and those make the difference. Of course, speed makes the difference on these days, and there are not as many players here in Spain that we can make that difference. So my thoughts on that is because we've been working there, and maybe it's time to start working also at the same time, yes, tactically, yes, with the ability and the players that we have from our academies, but also working a lot more on that, because I can see that lack is we are facing it when we play at the highest level. And it's something that I thought quite a few years back, we mentioned in one of the conferences, but I'm still missing that part. And definitely after seeing 3 of our teams going and the way that they've been going out, I think it's a good idea to think about it.
No, I agree exactly with what Luis Garcia is saying here, in the sense that it's not that you can't pass the ball as you once did. is the fact that you're now having to outrun teams and you can't quite do it. And an image that sticks in my mind in terms of the difference of what's going on around the world and the game around the world is Kylian Mbappe running past Gerard Piqué and Gerard Piqué doing this, kind of hanging on to the back of his jersey. That's happening because the speed of the game and the physicality of players now that are moving at a quicker pace is leaving Spanish teams behind. And until they're able to compete physically first, then they're not going to be able to maintain the sort of level of play or the sort of level of results that they would want.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.